what we have here is Yohan Lainesse has never been a favorite in the UFC. I found that fascinating, right? I just went back and looked, and he's been an underdog every time out. So, he's done better than people expected of him, right? He's 1-2 in the UFC. And he was an underdog on the Contender Series as well. I believe he was an underdog against Evan Cutts in CFFC. This guy's just been a dog. And he's been going out there and overperforming, right? Getting the knockout win against Evan Cutts, getting the knockout win against hype prospect Justin Burlinson on the Contender Series. But then Gabe Green went out there and dealt with some early adversity, then came back to smash Yohan Lainesse in round 2. Seemed like he gassed out, seemed like he did not have the gas to go. Then he goes out there against Darian Weeks, puts on a much more low volume performance, greases out a very close split decision type win on a pay-per-view card. Now we look at Mike Malott, the guy that we just talked about, right? Mike Malott went out there and absolutely got the choke, easy money, right? And really quickly finished a guy in Yohan Lainesse and made him look bad on the ground, frankly. Just made him look pretty amateurish there. So when I'm looking at a spot like this, this is an interesting one because Sam Patterson went out in his last fight and he got absolutely obliterated in short order by Yanal Ashmuz, the Red Fox. And I don't think that a lot of people had Yanal on the radar at that point. Then he was supposed to fight Nasrat Haqparast. Seemed like a fight that, he had some potential to win. Everybody was picking Haqparast. And then Sam Patterson ends up withdrawing from the bout, says, I can't make it at 155 pounds anymore. So now we're seeing Sam Patterson move up to 170 pounds. And he's going to be the much taller party in this fight. So you've got Yohan Lainesse at 6'1", taking on 6'3" Sam Patterson. So despite moving up in weight, he is actually going to be the taller and longer individual. He's going to have a 2-inch advantage in the reach, 78 compared to 76. My source here being Tapology, of course. And when you're looking at the age differential here, Sam Patterson's going to check every anthropomorphic advantage off in this fight. He's going to be 4 years younger, 27 years of age compared to 31 for Yohan Lainesse. So when I'm looking at this fight, the White Lion, the Canadian, the guy who still trains in Canada, I definitely think the UFC wanted to give him a winnable fight, but this isn't an easy fight. It is a winnable fight because he's got power in his hands, and we know Sam Patterson can be caught, he can be clipped, he can be knocked out. He was knocked out in 2017 in the first round in Brave. He was knocked out in the first round in 2023 by Yanal Ashmuz. So it can definitely happen. But we also know that Sam Patterson's put together a lot of wins. And by the way, he's done it before, in fights that people didn't expect him to win. A lot of people thought Kamil Magomedov in Brave FC was going to get one over on him. He was able to deal with some adversity there and able to get the win as well in that spot. So I do think that when you're looking at a guy like Sam Patterson here, he's going to be highly motivated, in my opinion. Could we see a better chin from not cutting weight? I do think there's a possibility of that as well. Could we see potentially better cardio, a better ability to push? I think all those things are possible. Sam has always been, hittable, right? Like if I could criticize him, I do think we've seen lots of instances in his regional footage, as well as, in that Yanal Ashmuz fight, as well as in some of his Brave FC fights. This is a guy that is, so tall that he has a little bit of that tall man defense. But again, at 170 with some time out of the octagon at just 27 years of age, we could definitely see some improvements here as well from Sam Patterson. So don't want to sell him down the river just yet. He was heavily favored to win his last fight, if you guys remember, and he ended up losing there, right? Big pressure at home on a pay-per-view. They're bringing him back for another pay-per-view card. They're flying him out to Canada this time, and maybe he's, getting the chopping block here. But if he's able to get a big win and a big finish over a guy like Yohan, who's never been a favorite before in the UFC, that would be, his ticket back to relevance, his ticket back to, big fights and people talking about him and saying good things. But when you look at how that last fight played out, I do think that fighting a guy like Yohan, who's got this big power, could be a problem, right? Yohan's going to try and swing for the fences, take his head off in the early going, and Sam's going to have to really be weary of that. He's going to have to look for takedowns. So I'll do my tape here. I'll make sure that I understand this matchup a little bit better in depth. But it does seem to me like Yohan Lainesse doesn't have enough data points to suggest he should be, a heavy favorite in this spot. So for me, it would be Patterson plus money or pass. But I also, just don't really feel great about Sam Patterson. So for me, I'm going to wait and see on this one. I'm going to have to take a disciplined approach and do my research before I get a strong lean. I think it's a volatile welterweight matchup, and I think it's very likely to end inside the distance. I'll tell you that.